Hello, everybody. Welcome to this OET Speaking Masterclass. Today, we're going to do a role play with Lujian, who's a former student of SET. Hi, Lujian.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. I understand that you got a really, really great score for your OET Speaking. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got an A, 417 specific.
That's amazing. Well done. So
Thank
that's,
you.
I think, the main reason why everybody is so keen to see what that sounds like. I think not a lot of people have had an experience where they've heard an A-level speaking role play. So I think it's really great
My
that
pleasure.
you're doing this. So thank you very much, Lou Jane, for joining us.
My pleasure.
And we've also got Amanda as well. Hi, Amanda. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Very excited to be here today.
Yes, great. It's really great to have you here as well. Thank you, Amanda. So, just in case anybody doesn't know, Amanda is our amazing Amanda. She is our speaking guru at SET English, and she's going to be playing the role of the interlocutor today, so the patient role. And Lou Jane, of course, is going to play the doctor. So, I'm going to show the task card on the screen just for about 30 seconds, just so you guys watching the video have some time to understand what the role play is about. So 30 seconds. Okay, great. So great role play that we've got here. Lots of opportunity to show lots of different criteria to show how we can meet those criteria in the role play. So I am going to show this the criteria on the screen. There they are. And while Lou Jane and Amanda are talking, I'm going to switch off my camera and I'm going to be basically the examiner in this situation. So I'm going to listen to what's going on, and on the screen I'm going to mark these different criteria that I think Lou Jane is meeting. And then at the end, we can have a quick chat about how we felt the role play went. Anything that we were really happy about, anything that we might change, or anything that we really thought was a good example of speaking. So I'm going to do the role play now. Lou Jane and Amanda, are you guys ready? Do you feel ready
Yep,
to do?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my camera. And when you guys are ready, you can start. You've got 5 minutes.
Okay. Hello, Amanda. Thank you for coming in today.
hi,
So,
doctor.
how have you been doing since our last consultation?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Not very good actually. I'm just super worried. Like my hand's not better, and I just don't know
Hmm.
what's happening. So worried.
I understand. Rest assured, Amanda, I have your test results here and there is nothing to be worried about.
Oh,
Okay? We will discuss them in a second, but first you told me that your hands has not been better. Would you tell me more about that, please?
yeah, sure. So I don't know. Like it's when I'm trying to do my zip up, for example, or my buttons on my shirt, I can't do
Yeah,
it. My hand is clumsy, and I just can't do it.
Kamsi.
Horrible.
I understand. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, so is there anything in specific that makes your symptoms worse?
Yeah. So I use my computer every day and I'm always typing. And at the end of the
Mhm.
day, whoa, my ha arm and my hand is really painful. So
I
maybe it's the
understand.
computer. I don't know that's doing this.
Okay, I understand. Okay. So, Amanda, based on your symptoms and your test results, I believe that you have what we call carpal tunnel syndrome. Have you ever heard about it?
Oh gosh, no. But is that really bad, doctor?
Not at all. There is nothing serious in carpal tunnel syndrome. It's basically the compression of a main nerve in your hand, and that what is causing this clumsiness and maybe pins and needles feeling. But there is nothing serious about it, so rest assured. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, it does. But you know what? What if it's something really serious? What if it's like multiple sclerosis or something like that. I know what you're saying, but I'm a bit freaked out actually.
I understand, but can I ask you why you asked me specifically about multiple sclerosis? What is that worrying you exactly?
Yeah. So thanks for asking. So basically, my friend, one of my best
Mhm.
friends, and my sister, they both had multiple sclerosis, and they had the same symptoms as I have, and
I understand.
they died. They died. So that's why I'm so worried.
Oh, I accept my condolences. I can only imagine how hard that would be for you. But nothing in your symptoms nor in your test results indicate anything related to multiple sclerosis. So there is no need to worry about it at all. Do you feel a little bit better now?
Yeah, I do actually. I really do. Thank you so much for explaining.
Don't worry. Now, how about we talk about the management and how can we relieve your pain?
Oh, yes, please. I'm desperate to hear these things.
Oh, okay, great. So first I will prescribe you ibuprofen for the pain and you can use a wrist splint. Would you be able to manage that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Great. And I would show you some exercises as well. There are special exercises to relieve the pressure on your nerve. Would you be able to do it?
Yeah, I'll give it a try. I'll do anything to get better, actually.
Great, great. So, you've mentioned that you use your computer a lot. Am I
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you can carry on using your computer, but for shorter periods. Basically, Amanda, we don't want you to keep your wrist in the same position for long period. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, yeah. As long as I can keep using it because it's important, but I can take breaks. Yeah.
Sure. Do you have any questions for me for now?
Yeah. So just a thought. So is it possible, do you think, that I could have surgery to correct this problem if the wrist splint doesn't work and the paracetamol or whatever you're going to prescribe me? What about surgery?
Okay, I really appreciate your question, but surgery is our last resort in this case. First, we will try a steroid injection that would provide you relief if the ibuprofen and Splint didn't work. But surgery is our last resort, and it's highly unlikely that we would use it in this case. So don't worry about that.
Yeah. All right. As long as I get better, I'm happy. Yeah.
Yeah, we will make sure that you will get better. You're in good hands. Well, do you have any other question, or would you like me to go through any of what we've said again?
No, you've made everything really, really clear, and I feel confident that I will be okay as long as I follow what you said and your exercises. Yeah, no more questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's great. That's great, Amanda. So I will see you for your follow-up later. Okay.
Yes, thanks so
Have a
much.
nice day. Thank
You too.
you.
Right, guys, that was exactly 5 minutes. So well done.
Wow.
That was, yeah, exactly 5 minutes. Fantastic. So, number one, great score there in terms of being within the 5 minutes. So these are some things I think that I kind of noticed as you're speaking. I think some of these things actually I can add extra things to as well. I think these two here were certainly met. I think this was certainly met as well, the C1. Here I put open questions, but there were closed questions as well. So that was moved on to, there weren't any compound questions or leading questions. So I can tick that as well. So yeah, loads of things here. And these are just things that I picked up as I was listening. I'm not a professional OET examiner, but I can see that these things were met by Lujian. Lujian, let's go to you first of all. How do you feel about that role play?
Yeah, I feel quite confident
Hmm.
because, it's not like one of the complicated cards when you have pediatrics. Maybe we'll do that later. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
it was quite straightforward. And
Hmm.
for me, when I start preparing the card, and that's what I've done on exam day,
Yeah.
I always think about the structure. Some cards are not so logical when we are talking.
Yeah.
And a lot of candidates mess up the fact of this is hypothetical and this is not real life.
Yeah.
You need to follow the card to your best ability and make sure what techniques you want to use when. So I always, for example, highlight or underline that, okay, I'm going to do menu technique here. I'm going to
Yeah.
signpost these. For example, I would refer to something that the interlocutor mentioned before, like her in this example, the clumsy hand and the
Yeah.
usage of the laptop or the typing. At the same time, I made sure that when she says something that is vague for me, that I ask for clarification. She said, I'm not doing so well, and you need to pick up the cues and to ask why. When she mentioned, for example, that she's worried about multiple sclerosis, this is
Yeah.
unusual, so you need to pick this cue as well. And it's always, even information giving, it has a lot of the interlocutor talking. You need just to leave the space and ask the right questions to be patient-centered as much as we can.
Yeah, totally agree. So in terms of the structure of this role play card, the one that we looked at today, do you think that that was quite an easy structure to follow, or was that a bit more kind of unusual in terms of the structure?
It was kind of okay. The only thing that you have already the test results.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that you have more questions to ask, which are what makes the symptoms worse. So this is kind of like coming in the middle. So maybe the best way to do it is to say something about the tests, like I have the test results and everything is okay, don't worry. And then go back, follow up with the patients, what they've said to you about their symptoms, ask you question. And here menu technique would be good. Like we will talk about this in a second, but first I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it makes sense that you will just give the management and then answer questions. And we need always, one thing for me that when I first started, I wasn't asking enough questions to the interlocutor. For example, do you have any other questions? I thought that me doing the talking is the right thing, but when I've practiced and after I've heard from Amanda and from you guys, and I've made my own way through it, you need to ask questions and leave it must be 60-40. You will do the 60 as the candidate and the interlocutor would do 40 at least.
That's the percentage of talking.
Yeah, great. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks, Lujian. Amanda, over to you. As a patient in this situation, how do you feel at the end of that role play?
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things for me, and this is in real life, if I go to the doctor or wherever I go and I'm waiting for test results, I don't want to wait to know if it's good or bad. So Lujian, for me, did exactly the right thing. She said she has my test results. There's nothing to be concerned about. Then really, I don't care what I've got then.
Just as long as there's nothing
I'm
to
just
be
happy.
concerned about.
Exactly. So that for me is an absolute must.
Yeah, and you liked the fact that that was right at the beginning as well. So the rest of the
100%.
conversation was like, oof.
If I had to wait, well, I don't like it. So right at the beginning is absolutely,
So easy to say that with an OET card, but in real life from a doctor, when you have good results, you will say it in the beginning. When you don't have good results, then you start to duck and dive. Yeah, you start to ask more questions, try to put your words together. In real life, to break a bad news is it's not so delightful. But when there is nothing to worry about, we say this outright, nothing to worry about.
Sure.
Yeah. And we can do a Breaking Bad News one in the future. So
yeah, that would be interesting to see.
My specialty.
Good. Well, we'll look forward to that. And Amanda, in terms, obviously, as I said, I'm not an OET examiner, and obviously, as I'm listening, I picked these out as I went along. I think, Lujian, as we can see, has hit the majority of those there. I'm sure that she hit a lot of the other ones there that I didn't mark. Is there anything that you think that I haven't marked that you think she did?
Well, B2, and you even mentioned it. We just forgot to put a mark there.
Yeah. So B2, picking up the patient's cues.
Yeah. There are so many cards where there's a cue to pick up. Like my sister died of multiple sclerosis.
Yeah.
Let's say but I'm so worried. But then sometimes that cue is not picked up and it's so important.
Sure.
Clarifying statements.
Yeah, I agree. I missed that one. Yeah. But thinking about it afterwards, that was definitely there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I would also say D1 as well. I didn't mark that. I don't know why, but there was definitely active listening techniques.
Yeah, definitely.
Echoing. Yes, okay. That kind of thing.
And something that I want to mention,
Yeah.
because I've I went to the exam, and I've seen what happens. Usually
Sure.
interlocutors facilitate echoing and active listening, and especially
Mm,
summarizing as well. They give you a pause, at least in my case. They
mm,
will give you some time so you can say it. Not all of them are so forthcoming. And
mm,
if the candidate feel that the interlocutor is so forthcoming, and they are not leaving them that space, you can say it once. For example,
mm,
clumsy hand. They'll understand that you want to do this technique, and they will allow you some time for it. These are marks that are easily obtained in the exam. Echoing,
mm, mm.
like, you're just doing nothing, you're just echoing. So, and
Yeah.
it's a tick by the end of the day. So
Yeah.
people should like make sure that they are doing this, because it's the easiest of all.
Sure.
If
Yeah.
they,
It's like an
yeah,
easy win, isn't it? Yeah.
it
Mm,
isn't my favorite, but as you said, Jane, if the interlocutor is taking over a bit too much, then that's your only option, isn't it? It's just to drop something in there. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And for someone who's not native, Amanda, you need to give
yeah,
some things that they will fill the space with, that doesn't need
yeah,
a lot of thinking over it. So,
yeah.
yes, yes, it's so easy to say
There,
it,
I like,
and
yeah,
just
yeah,
to repeat a word here or there, especially big words like clumsy. Not
yeah,
every word, of course, but for example, you say it clumsy hand. Clumsy is something that is like distinctive. So just say
Mm.
clumsy.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
True.
yeah,
Yeah, it's an important word there, isn't it? Because I think you put a lot of emphasis on that as well when you were saying it, Amanda, as well. So it's definitely a kind of
yeah,
key, isn't it, there to how the patient is feeling about their condition. The fact they're not just saying, "Oh, it's a bit difficult," they're saying it's clumsy. So that's
yeah.
obviously something that's on their mind. Yeah. Great, guys. Well, I think that was a really, really good example. Thanks for that, Lujian. Hopefully, the people who watch this video will also feel the same way. I'm sure they will, because it was a really good example. Any final words, guys, before we finish? Anything else you want to add or say?
I guess for me, so sometimes, not for me, but sometimes people can be overwhelmed with the criteria. So it's great to see it like this.
Yeah,
And it's great, when people come to go to the speaking class, brilliant, you teach them all that. And then when they come to me, they can take a breath and we can do it naturally, like Lou
sure.
Jane and I did.
Yeah,
These things just, they do, once you know how to communicate well, these things just happen without thinking about the criteria.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a natural conversation.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah, of course, but you need to have that pragmatic from
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
you need to have that
but
pragmatic
yeah,
thought of it, because I've heard a lot of good speakers that are fluent, but the exam is not only about fluency. So people
Sure.
need, as you've said, they need to keep it in the background of their mind that, yeah, there is a criteria called this, called
yeah,
that, but then they need to work on their fluency and capabilities. And from
yeah,
my experience, when I first started, everybody was telling me, like, why are you so on your nerves? You are fluent, you speak English since forever. But the reality is, OET exam is different than just
yeah,
speaking. Because, for example, if you've noticed my first interaction with me and Amanda, she told me that I'm talking like maybe an officer in the army, because I was like, I was like, because this is the way that I am with my patients. I'm so
Mhm.
strict, and this is it.
I
This
do
is what you
remember
have to
now.
do. Yeah, this is what you have to do. So I think learning phrases is great.
Yeah,
To learn phrases, to keep it under your sleeve, and to know that I can use this for this occasion.
yeah,
It's very
definitely.
important to do that. It's really important that you have enough sentences that it's there. It's a sentence, not specific words that you need to make them up on
Yeah,
exam day.
Yeah.
exactly. So that's when go to the set classes, the speaking classes with Laurence, and then come to me after. So it's a great
Yeah.
mixture, isn't it?
It's a good
Yeah,
Yeah,
process, isn't it? You need a bit of both,
yeah,
a bit of
absolutely.
the pragmatic side, a bit of the
Yes,
theory, but then also the natural. Yeah. And I think it's really interesting as well seeing this today's. I think a lot of students think about the criteria as like separate entities. Like I need to do this criteria and this criteria. But actually the best speakers, I think, for OET, they combine these things together.
of
Some of these
course.
things work in collaboration with each other. Like for example, here where we're using organizing techniques, chunking, for example, well, that's definitely connected to, for example, things like pausing periodically when giving information using the response to guide next
yeah,
steps. That's what chunking is. So these things are, they're all connected, and we shouldn't see them as separate entities, but rather as kind of connected skills that we're doing, and we're showing, the examiner, and they go really well together. They do kind of they do combine really well together as different skills, I think, as well. Right, guys. Well, thank you very much. It's been an illuminating experience. So thank you very much. And I look forward to the next video or live that we do. So I'll see you soon, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
you.
It was a
Thank you.
pleasure. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.